listening to Season 3, Episode number 3 of the Indie Film Tribe podcast with me, your host, Angela Matamocha. Welcome. Hi there, good people. Hi. Angela Matamocha here of Indie Film Tribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I have a super special lady with me for our show. She is an actor. She is also a writer and a producer. She was last seen as an actor on Angie Tribeca, The Guest Book, Insecure. But you'll also see her in a new Nickelodeon show called Henry Danger that airs Saturday the 23rd on Nickelodeon. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Lita Lopez. Lita, welcome.
Hi, how are you? Great intro. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. Oh my gosh. So really quick, I have to ask, Insecure, I love that show. What was your experience?
It was a great experience. I was a drive-through food employee, so they ordered food for me at a drive-through window, and I handed it out to them. I had one line, I think. It was super cool. And you know what the most kind of significant thing I noticed on set that was a little different than other set experiences is the diversity. It was the crew was almost entirely African American, and I had never seen that before, and it was super cool. I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool. That's great.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that show. I just had to ask you about that. I'm like, oh my God, Insecure. I didn't know that. I love Issa Rae.
Yeah, she was amazing. I will say, I was intimidated to talk to her. When I've done these co-star roles like this, I try to just really respect boundaries and not approach the stars,
Right.
unless approached myself,
Yeah.
So I did not talk to her a lot, but I was dying. Like, I was just sitting next to her, like, oh, there's so much I want to say to her right now. Yeah.
And for those that don't know, and I'm sure you all do, she's talking about Issa Rae, who, like yourself, was an actor, is an actor, and decided to create literally her own show. So it's such an inspiring, like, journey she's had. It was originally called Awkward Black Girl, the show that she put out on YouTube, and her character on Insecure is very much based off that. So anyway, I have such a passion, and I'm always curious to learn and talk to other actors that are, creating their own content, because I recognize how difficult it is, but I also realize that in this day and age that it's so possible to do. So tell us a little bit about this journey that you're on right now. I know you're working on television, you're working in film, but now you're creating your own short project. What is it called? I'm acting like I don't know. You guys will hear more of it.
It's called The Good Balloon, and it's my true story. It's a miracle story. This has been a long journey, a 10 plus year journey to get to the point where I was able to do this. From when the moment happened that the film is based on, there was, so for anybody, okay, so the log line will tell you that. The log line is: a grieving sister finds a ray of light amidst the darkness with the help of an unusual balloon. And so this was I lost my brother, Noel, and that experience was the most shattering thing that I've been through in my life. So it took a long, long time to put the pieces together and back together. So this experience happened very shortly after he passed, where this balloon, I looked up into the sky, and there, on a really dark day, the day, like there were many, many dark days, but, a particularly bad day. And I looked up into the sky, and I just needed a message. And there's this balloon way, way far up in the sky, and I looked at it for a while, and then it started to come down, and I see that it's descending, and it's coming to me, and it brought a message. I don't know how much. I don't want to give away everything.
Right.
It's the message of the story, because
That's
you
okay.
have to make the movie to say the final message that it brought me. But it was what I needed in that moment, and gave me a chance to smile again for the first time, and have some hope. It was still a really, 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 really long road of grief. And what I've learned from all of this is that grief doesn't end. It's not going to just suddenly be over one day. But love never dies. And that's what I learned in that. Like, that's what this experience gave me, is just this message that love never dies. And even though we can't see and hold and touch them and talk to them, our loved ones never really leave us.
I love that message. I love that message.
And now I'm at a point where I'm finally strong enough to put things into motion to share that message on using everything I've ever done in my entire life. My whole life has been writing and acting first, and then writing and creating. So it's finally time to bring everything together and just do it.
One of the things that I talk to a lot of, my actors about that do work with me in creating their own content is just how important I think it is to create something from a place of love, right? First of all, but also from a very personal experience. Can you tell me a little bit about your writing process? Because, not only are you an actor, but you're a writer as well. So do you find, as a writer, writing something that's very personal to you kind of helps to move things along? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I have many, many scripts. This is the first one that's actually going to be produced. But my writing process is very, I always say it's like very bingey and purgy.
Yep.
I will have an idea, and sometimes the idea kind of almost fully downloads of like, okay, I know almost exactly what this is, or I know this core piece of this, or I know this character. And so something will just kind of fully like, that's the idea. And then maybe I'll kind of mull it over for a little while. But then I tend to have these spurts where I'll get a big chunk of time, and I'll just be able to sit down, or I'll just I'll just decide, nope, I'm right. This idea needs to come out now. And so every free moment that I have in the next 3 weeks, I'm purging it out. And so like, I will do like this big just dump and I let the characters, when I know the characters, they will just tell me what to do. Like they guide. I'll have an idea, but they'll guide where things go. And my process has evolved somewhat over the years, but that's kind of generally how it'll be, is that like I just dump a big thing out, and I'll write like a first full draft of something in a really short time, and then go back and make adjustments however long that takes. But I used to like have too many projects going at the same time.
Huh.
I would be working on multiple scripts at the same time, and I had to kind of stop that and just be like, no, okay. And I'll put things away. Like I'll do a dump load on something, and then like, okay, put that away. Now let's go and do a rewrite on this other thing before that. And like, but I have to now just remember to just focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah, yeah. Those drafts, I think how Postman calls them the vomit draft,
Yes, exactly.
right? Just bleh.
Exactly.
Out of all your scripts, what made you pick this one in particular to produce first?
Because I mean, there's so many reasons. The first being that it's a short, and it's one of the few shorts I have. Most of my other scripts are pilots or features.
Great.
So it felt like the simplest, sizable chunk to bite off first. I have this other writing friend who says like the short film is the new screenplay.
Interesting. I haven't heard that. What the short film is the new screenplay.
Like, because there's so many it's going to be so much harder to just get your screenplay read and get a lot of attention out of a screenplay.
Very true.
So instead of trying to just pitch that, then you do the short, which may or may not be a proof of concept for a longer piece, but nonetheless you do make the short, and just as here's my writing sample, here's what I can do, especially and maybe more so for writer directors as well.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a director, but I have always wanted to be a producer, and that's a big part of it for me too. So like just it becoming your calling card, instead of the script being your calling card, the short film.
No.
So that's why I decided to do a short, but then it also just really felt like I really want to tell this story. Really, right now, I really want to tell this story and share this with the world. And it's time for me to do that.
And obviously, I am so passionate about socially conscious content, and that's one of the reasons I love your script so much, because it does deal with grief. It does deal with mental illness, things that, as you know, everyone suffers with or will at one point in their lives. It's inevitable.
1 in 4 adults have experienced some form of mental illness, and then, everybody, sadly, we're all going to lose somebody.
Yeah. Coping seems to be a theme in a lot of the projects that I've been working on lately. Just how do we cope with just heartache, right?
Yeah. How do we survive? How do you stay alive?
Yeah.
Going.
Do you feel that the acting part of you informs your writing and vice versa?
It has, at this point, for sure. Another aspect of why I wanted to do this particular film too is that I don't have any drama, and this is a dramedy or a comedy. It really is. I was thinking about this recently, of whether or not this is a drama or a comedy, but it does have a happy ending. So and there are some really light moments in it.
Yeah.
So it really is an interesting dark comedy or dramedy, but it is going to require. So I do a lot of comedy, and I love comedy, and I want to talk about that more as well. But I don't get the opportunity to do drama much, just because I don't know why. I mean, it's just what I've already done, and so I don't get that opportunity. So I want also the chance to show people, yes, I can do this as well.
Smart.
Yeah. So this is going to be definitely a huge acting challenge. And it's great that the process is, once I decided to do it, I was kind of in a hurry to do it.
Yeah.
And there were delays even, before we got to this point, like, I kind of spent a year just finding a director. To be honest, like it took me a really long time to just get that kind of really solidified. Um, and in all of this time, it's also really giving me the chance to prepare for this as I need to prepare myself to be able to go back to these really painful, vulnerable places.
For those of you listening, Lita reached out to me. I believe it was in December. Was it November or
Oh,
December?
maybe even October
Oh
that
my
I
gosh.
emailed you. I know it's kind of flown by, but it's been a long time, but it hasn't. Like, yeah, I think, I mean, I could look up that first email that I sent you, but yeah, it was when you were first debuting. I think it was October.
Okay, yeah, our the world premiere of Elevate was in October, my feature.
Yeah,
So I know I was really overwhelmed at that time. I'm like, I
yeah,
will get back to you. I love this, but I will get back to you.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, then we started talking, I guess, in November, and probably first met in November and started planning. So yes, if it's not clear, Angela is directing my film, and I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too, and it's so wild because Alita and I, how many years ago did we do the vagina monologues together? We were both in Christina Mitchell's um, in Santa Monica 3 years ago.
At least maybe even four. We could. Oh, I just saw a post pop up, a memory on Facebook the other day. I think I should have saved that. I think it might have been 4 years ago because it's 2019 now,
Oh my
or
gosh.
even that might have been 2014. Was it?
Oh
No.
my goodness. It's just so incredible because when I got this script, the only way I knew you or remembered you was from that character. A very
Yeah.
intense, powerful, powerful character that you just portrayed so beautifully.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know what to expect in this script, because your
Yeah.
performance in the Vagina Monologues was just so powerful, so outstanding. So it was lovely to see
Thank
this
you.
other side of you.
Thank you. That was fun. Oh my gosh, that performance. That was one of my favorite acting moments ever.
Holy cow, that was
Like,
intense.
that whole show was great. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I uh I loved that completely. Yeah.
One of the things that I love as a director and why this project is so exciting for me to do is because I come from the theater, so does Lita. So I often find when you are working with other actors that also come from a similar training ground, it's very it's a fluid way of you end up working. I have improv, which I know you do too, and I
Yeah.
do end up improvising a lot on set just to shake things up, and you never know, a lot of improvised scenes end up being in the film. It's
Yeah.
amazing, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that, I love that. So again, it's this process because we do have people listening that are maybe thinking about creating their own content. You said this was a journey that took years. What made you say now is the time?
Um I think a lot of it was that I'm uh getting older.
Hmm.
A lot of it was I got impatient. So I get impatient. This is maybe a bad cycle. So I'll have periods of procrastination and then impatience, which maybe even uh, a tinge of, so like, I may have so my brother Noel's, we didn't quite talk on that too much. My brother Noel's bipolar. Bipolar runs in my family. I've never been actually diagnosed with it, but I certainly have periods of depression and then periods of much greater energy and ambition and productivity. So my
Yes.
productivity, will fluctuate. And a big part of that. So one reason things took years. So when I said, Noel's death shattered me, it kept me. I was paralyzed for many years. Things that I may, if that hadn't happened, I think maybe I would have produced something sooner, or I would have been on, I just would have had a different path. Things just would have gone differently.
Right.
So it really kind of got me stuck for a long time. So it's been the process too of getting unstuck and getting more productive and getting more disciplined and more consistently productive, and also just sucking it up and just deciding. So my one of your questions that you mentioned might be like, what book has helped you in your career? And I thought about that, and I was like, I don't know that I have a book, but I have the Serenity Prayer has kept going. Like, that has kept me alive. So, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom
to know the difference. Yeah.
And I finally, and I've been saying that to myself for my entire life. And it just also required the patience with myself to finally get the courage. So it was patience and impatience at the same time. I was like, I had to rebuild. I had to get stronger. And then I finally got stronger. And then I finally was like, you just have to choose. You have to choose the courage too.
Yeah.
Like, the courage just doesn't come. You just have to say, all right, I'm just gonna take this leap of faith. And it's the biggest leap of faith I think I've ever taken at this point. I mean, every actor has to take a leap of faith at some point,
Absolutely.
Like, I moved to Chicago after college. I moved to LA after years in Chicago. Like, those are leaps of faith. And then eventually you just have to either dance or leave. Just do it.
Yep.
Or give up. And I can't ever give up. I've tried to give up. I wish I could give up. I wish I could quit this stupid business, but I can't.
I know. I often think that, gosh, my life would be so much simpler.
It's like taking charge of my career too, of like, now is the time that it's possible. It's so possible to do this, especially with crowdfunding and stuff. I remember years ago, right after this, I produced a live sketch show, and then a couple with this group. We also did a music video, and with a sketch and improv group. And then we wanted to do another music video, but we wanted to really do it big, and like, we wanted to make some money, raise some money to somehow do this music video, but we had no idea how to do it. And this was like, we were 2 or 3 years before Kickstarter, maybe even only a year and a half, 2 years. Like, we were just right before crowdfunding was born. And if we'd had crowdfunding at that time, we could have done it. But we had no idea how to raise that money, so we ended up not doing it, and the group fell apart. One of those other heartbreaks. Like, there's so many heartbreaks in this business, but then you just have to keep picking yourself up and keep going. Just keep going. Yeah.
What is, clearly it sounds like the most challenging thing that you've experienced so far in life, which sounds like it also, I don't want to say stopped your acting career, but you said you were paralyzed for a while. So in my mind, I imagine just stopped for a while.
I didn't stop. I think I wasn't very far along yet at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd only been in LA for about 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a little over 2 years when that happened. So I was still very new. I was just building. I had never done any on camera before I got here.
Wow.
Yeah, I was still very, very green in the film world. And I think it just, I didn't have any extra motivation to go the extra mile. So like, I was had representation probably at that time, but I don't think that was probably still like my very first agent ever, and they got me out like maybe twice a year, at that point. Like, I was just I don't know, just trying to kind of tread water and like get what I could, get whatever real footage I could. But I wasn't out there like, I don't know, producing my own stuff. I certainly was.
Right.
I did a little bit. I did do a like web series thing that we just shot on our, I had a couple different cameras, but like little camcorder things. I
Awesome.
did stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just as, just a survival, like the improv. I was doing improv at the time. That really kept me going, like, as just, it was like I was getting my fix or doing my improv show is a lot like going to church for me. So I still do the show at least a couple times a month, every Saturday night. And I've been doing the show since like 6 months after I moved to LA. So,
oh, that's awesome.
That's
what show is this?
It's a short form improv show at LA Connection Comedy Theater in Burbank. Now we used to be in Sherman Oaks on Ventura Boulevard. My show is Saturday nights at 8. The group is called Temporary Insanity. Not my favorite name, but but the name of the group is not what it's important. We have a fun time. So it's very Whose Line Is It style.
Awesome.
And I love that interaction with the audience. Like, yeah. I need that. That keeps me alive. So I was doing like the bare minimum to just stay alive.
Right. Right.
To keep the passion alive.
Yeah.
And that's also in the 10 plus years I've been in LA, like just keeping the passion alive for the work and weeding out what's the business and what you can control and what you can't.
Yep.
And accepting what you can and cannot control.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge as an actor. And I know, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same, but when you produce your own project, you have some semblance of like control,
Yeah.
of your career, of your journey, of your destiny. No, we don't know exactly what's going to happen to the project, but we can say, yes, I'm creating this, I'm doing it now, and here we go. What kind of expectation do you have with The Good Balloon? Once, it's in the can, it's post-production, what do you want to do with this film?
I want this film to be available to the people who need it, who need to hear this message. So I really hope to partner with some grief support organizations, some mental health organizations, to just get this in front of people. A short film doesn't necessarily have a lot of distribution opportunities. But I think that, that possibility could change. HBO has some of these short films available. I watched a couple recently that are like, I guess, their own projects that they've found people. I don't know.
Yeah, and also Marissa Vitali, I think her name is. She's an actress, writer, producer, I believe, of the short film that I watched years ago called Grace. And this short film is a film that she made about her year clean after heroin addiction. Cut to, she ended up traveling all over the country, speaking with students and at different facilities that needed to hear this message. So I completely see that for The Good Balloon as well, I
would absolutely love that.
I will have to connect you with her. I will have to connect you with her when this is said and done. What do you want audiences to take away from this film? Yes, you want people that need to hear the message, those that are suffering with grief or mental illness. What else?
I think it's about also being present, being open and uh, aware of just the little things in life. Like I could have easily this so many little tiny details uh, put this into motion that I could be in the right place at the right time to even look up in the sky at that moment, to just, look up in the sky. Um, and it was miraculous. It was a miraculous event. So, but it in some ways it's a very tiny, small thing, but yet it's huge.
Yeah.
So I think just, and I want to be more conscious of that myself too, of just appreciating um, the world around me in every little moment. Yeah.
Does that appreciation, do you think you are much more aware of wanting to be present because of what happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Changes your perspective, huh?
Totally. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I am just so touched and just so excited when artists are brave enough to put stories like this out there, because I know it's not an easy thing and it does take a tremendous amount of courage. So I want to acknowledge you for that and thank you for that, because it's hard, and you're putting one foot in front of the other, and you're taking the steps and you're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting. It's yeah. It's scary.
Yes.
I have a lot of anxiety, but I also am like now that I'm doing it too, I can't imagine not doing it. And it feels like, yes, I'm finally doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing as well. What I've always wanted to do. I mean, it's always been my dream to be to have a production house, basically, to just do my scripts, do other people's scripts, women's voices. I just want to make art.
At the beginning of our conversation, you talked about the diversity on the Insecure set.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your background? You have a pretty diverse background yourself, right?
A little bit. So my full name is Adelita Elena Lopez. I go by Lita. I the easiest way I describe it is that I'm Texican. My father's family is Mexican Americans in Texas for generations. My mother was an Army Air Force brat. Her maiden name is Smith, so she's very English, Irish, German. And these two crazy kids met in San Antonio in the late 60s, and they were rebels, this Latino guy and this little white lady. They were breaking boundaries then by getting together.
Yep.
Her parents weren't thrilled about it. You know, they've always and my name, I always say this too, the best gift my parents ever gave me was my name. So Adelita is a very famous Mexican folk song that's also about a woman, true story, woman who fought in the Mexican Revolution.
Ooh.
And then a lot of women, so there were actually a lot of women that followed their men to these battles and like took care of them in the cooked and cleaned them up and took care of them in the battles.
Wow.
So then they all kind of became known as Adelitas or Soldaderas, the lady soldiers. And so so my dad always sang me this song as I was growing up, and it's like I've always felt this not responsibility, but inspiration to like be a warrior.
I love that.
A warrior for art and peace and
Yes.
love and hope. Yeah.
If people want to learn more about the Good Balloon, where can they go?
So there are a couple different websites. We're on Facebook. It's facebook.com/ The Good Balloon Film. Twitter is just at The Good Balloon. Our fundraising campaign is going on right now, so this is the most important website to go to is Seed and Spark. So seedandspark.com/fund/the-good-balloon.
Seed and Spark, and I'll definitely put the link to the campaign in the show notes here. We're hoping to go into production in April. Because we have until what, mid-March for the fundraiser.
March 16th it ends. We just launched on Valentine's Day for the love, to spread the love. So yeah, it ends on March 16th. I think at 9:45 a.m.
So far, we've gone through one casting. What is your sort of, just as an actor, because we're on both sides of the camera, what is it like for you to be on the other side when you're reading actors?
It's been really interesting. I'm also realizing it's kind of part of my preparation too. It was a great workout for me to be the reader in those auditions, and to monitor. I told you a little bit of this on our callback day of regulating my emotions, monitoring how vulnerable I get, because I think it's an important skill for actors to learn as well, to really be able to tap into their emotions, but then manage their emotions after that. Because you can get stuck, you can get lost.
I was thinking, my gosh, these actors are so lucky to get a reader like this. How often?
There was one guy that was like, wow, you have chops.
You're like, you think? Maybe a few.
I've been doing this a while. I hope so. I hope I've got a couple. Yeah. It was a really interesting experience. And that's where, the final casting, I think, will come down to also just like that, who I felt a connection with.
Yeah, and that vulnerability, as you said.
Yeah.
Wow. Any sort of lessons as an actor witnessing a casting or, doing your own casting sessions? Has that informed you for your next audition? Are you like, whoa, I know what this is like?
Yes. Lessons for the actors. Know your lines. Be prepared. Know your lines. And I don't mind a little word transposition or something, or because you're in the moment and you don't have to be word perfect, but 100% get up off the page, engage with the reader, whoever they are, good or strong or not, actor or not, connect with that person that you are reading with, and know that it's about that connection. It's not just about my performance. It's about how am I working with the person across from me. How am I communicating with the person across from me?
This reminds me, I don't know what I was listening to. It was some actor talking about the difference in going in auditions in New York versus Los Angeles. And he was saying how in New York, you can really sort of take your moment, do your thing, get into character, turn around, and ta-da. Where in LA, people expect you to just walk into the room and be that character, right? So
yeah.
I remember we had one particular actor that really did a whole thing before, and it really caught us off guard in a good way, though. I thought, right? I was like, wow, I will remember this.
Yes. I think there's a happy balance between the two though. Like
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
take your moment. It was awkward when somebody turned their back to us. I understand exactly why that happened. Um, but it's actors need to know this. It can be off-putting, and we don't know because we don't know what to expect when you turn back around.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen. So I would rather see you. I'd rather see you just take that moment in front of me, just get into that place with your face to the because if the camera, especially, you don't know necessarily when they're going to start rolling, and we were rolling, and the camera is going to see everything. The camera sees what you see. The camera sees what you think. So,
Yep.
I'd like to see what you're thinking.
Yeah.
In that preparation moment. What are you thinking? Show me that. Don't hide. You don't have to hide. You're not a magician that's like, now you see me, now you don't, or now you don't see me, now you do, you're just be there now. Be present. Be present.
Mm.
And it's taken me a long time to learn that as an actor.
Yeah.
Like, and to really learn that as an actor for film, like I've finally feel like been taking classes again lately, and I'm learning what being present on film is like versus being present in improv or theater or whatever.
Did you choose acting or did acting choose you?
I guess it chose me. I was 5 years old, first play I ever did, and was just like, yeah, this is it.
Do you feel that you were put on this planet out of Lita Lopez at this particular time in history for a particular purpose, or do you feel like it's all just sort of random?
Oh no. Absolutely. I feel like I was put here. I feel very much like I was put into the family that I was put into for a reason. I know from having lost Noelle that we have a soul connection, and it wasn't born in 1982 when he was born. It was born whatever 1,000 years ago when our souls first walked together on this planet. Like, yeah, we've known each other before and we'll know each other again. I firmly believe that. So I believe I'm an actor. What I love most about acting is that it is the study of being human. And that is what I get really excited about, is being human and, and really studying everything that we can feel and everything that we can create and be. And it's a fascinating thing.
Being human's complicated.
These lives that we get this chance to lead.
Yeah.
We don't know how much time we've got. And hopefully, yes, we do come around again, and I think I'll come around again, and I'll do even better next time. Like, we come to learn what our soul needs to learn, and then we keep, sharing that. Yes.
Love that. Thank you so much just for your beauty, your vulnerability, and just for hanging out.
Yes.
For hanging out and chit-chatting a bit about the Good Balloon. Again, if people want to have a look at our fundraiser, please do visit the Good Balloon at seedandspark.com. Any final thoughts that you want to leave us with today?
Well, I wanted to, so I pulled up, this is what I was thinking about earlier. So also the clown's prayer. Are you familiar with
the clown's prayer? No. What is the clown's prayer?
So this has also, like the Serenity Prayer, this has gotten me through more recently, the last few years. Like this is part of what kind of drives me in this business too. So it's a clown's prayer. As I stumble through this life, help me create more laughter than tears, dispense more happiness than gloom, spread more cheer than despair. Never let me become so indifferent that I fail to see the wonder in the eyes of a child or the twinkle in the eyes of the aged. Never let me forget that my total effort is to cheer people, make them happy and forget, at least momentarily, all the unpleasantness in their lives. And in my final moment, may I hear you whisper, when you made my people smile, you made me smile.
And with that, good people, we are out. Thank you so much, Lita, for hanging out with us today. And thank you, Indie Film Tribe. Until next time, bye.
Thank you.